Introducing Minor Wisdom Quintet.
1, 2, a skidoo-doo-doo.
Minor Wisdom.
Welcome back to another Minor Wisdom podcast. This week I have the legendary Lynn Murray. He would not like me saying that, but he is a legend. And it's a short interview because I didn't want to keep him too long. He's got some other things that he's trying to do, like enjoy his retirement and enjoy his time doing as little as possible, according to him. So I did not keep him too long on the phone. If my voice sounds a little deeper this week, it's because I'm suffering from what most of you are suffering from, and that is allergies, being sick because we're back to school. We're in our 4th week of school, which is crazy to think about that, or we just ended our 4th week of school. And we're full throttle ahead. Our first show opens in just a week and a half, which is nuts, which is crazy. I am a big believer in doing quality over quantity, so I am not one of these people that does 100 performances of 3 different shows a year or 10 different shows or whatever it is. We do just a handful of shows a year and try to do our best work with the few opportunities that we give our students on a stage, that is, the few opportunities. Speaking of opportunities, Texas Thespians registration opens tomorrow. If you have questions, reach out to Amy. She put on Facebook to ask her questions, and some people took advantage of that. I know that there are people on the board that have received emails that aren't in their jurisdiction, but they pass it on to the right people. So reach out to those people that you know. Do not be afraid. We are just like you, the board of Texas Thespians. Also, TETA is coming up. I'm super excited about that. And if you are going to TETA, I would love to hear from you because I will be there and I will have an open microphone for most of the time and would love to talk to people, love to chat with people. I would love to get to know people I don't know. You might have noticed a theme on this podcast that I interview people that I kind of already have a relationship with. There are a couple of exceptions, this week being one of them. I did not know Lynn Murray before I talked to him a couple weeks ago, but I would love to get to know new faces, even people that have been around. I see on these Facebook groups that there are people responding to things and they have years of experience. Both are actually correct. And I would love to get to know them. That's kind of the main reason I started or continue this podcast. It's actually not why I started, but it's the reason I continue this podcast is because I'm getting to know a lot of people. So if you are at TTA, yes, a Texas event, then please let me know. Speaking of Texas events as well, I'm going to start branching out to more theater teachers outside of Texas. I want this to become a bigger podcast than it is because, quite frankly, I get very bored if I keep doing the same thing over and over and over. So I want to reach out to other people in the industry, if you will. It still can be theater educators or just performance educators for that matter. I have a band director that wants to come on. I've already interviewed Miranda Richter, who's a dance teacher. I just want to get to know people that are in kind of the fine arts world. And I think it would benefit everybody because it becomes different perspectives, different way of looking at things. And it could make us all just better educators and better for the students, better for our peers. You get that. Speaking of sound issues, no, there was no transition to that. So another thing that I've been doing, I've been fortunate enough to be able to travel from school to school within my district and help other directors do some fun stuff with their schools and with their programs. And if I sound distracted, it's because my dog is barking probably at her own shadow right now. But I've been able to go see and watch other directors do other things. And let me tell you, it's eye-opening. If you don't get to go out and watch other directors do their work, and again, even if it's outside of theater, seeing band directors do what they do with their kids, seeing art teachers do what they do with their kids, it helps you as an educator understand the other worlds and even ways to create relationships with those students. That is not what I was wanting to talk about, though, but I have seen that there are a lot of schools starting to really have issues with sound frequencies being taken up. Their old Shure mics are no longer working as well as they did even last school year because bandwidth is being eaten up. The FCC has on their website, which you can go to if you I Google searched FCC frequencies and it comes up. You can read about transition of wireless microphone operations out of certain bands, and the 600 megahertz service band is gone coming up this summer, July 13th, 2020. So if you have microphones in that bandwidth, which most of us do not, you won't be able to use them anymore. There are also microphone frequencies in the 5 and 400 bandwidth that are going to be eaten up. And that's just something that we have to really kind of consider. I hope it's something that some of these sellers, some of the people that are selling us this equipment, if we're buying new equipment, I hope they take that into consideration when they're selling it to us. I would hope they do. I would think they do, even though I know that they could make an extra buck if they sell it to us this year, and then we realize next year we can't use it. So what do you got to do? You got to buy more. Anyway, I hope everybody's fighting that battle. If you have ways around it, I know one of my biggest listeners, Matt Smith, is in Scotland now. An American, but in Scotland, a lumberjack, went to SFA. But he's very smart with that stuff. So if you ever see him online on Facebook answering those things, he is kind of uppity and egotistical, but he's also very intelligent. So reach out to Matt Smith. He's a great friend of this podcast. He's just I assume he's the only UK listener that I have, but I could be wrong. But he is also very resourceful and knowledgeable when it comes to this stuff. He does something that a lot of us do or used to do, and it's read. That's right. He reads stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy to see that and hear about that. Anyway, this has been a long, long talk from me, and this is the Lynn Murray podcast today. So I want you guys to sit back, relax. First of all, enjoy the Groner joke of the week, and then Mr. Lynn Murray. What would bears be without bees? Ears. So in the background, you're going to hear orchestral music because I interviewed Mr. Murray during the school day. And, when Lynn Murray says, I've got time to talk to you, you make time. I didn't have students at the time, didn't have a class, so I wasn't skipping out. Don't think my principal listens to this, but, just coming clean with this information. But Mr. Murray sounded a little sort of muted on the phone. So do your best with the volume control. I've tried to mix it as best I can, but please don't send me nasty emails, Stuart Savage. Thanks and enjoy Lynn Murray.
I grew up outside of Texarkana, a little, not really a suburb, just out in the country. I went to a 10th grade school called Liberty at that point. It's now Liberty Ilo, which is a pretty good sized school. But it was a 10th grade school, and I moved into Texas High School for my junior and senior year. The fortunate part about the theater-related thing was that there was an elementary junior high teacher at this 10th grade school that had theater background, and we did plays. So I was in 2 UIL plays, the 9th and 10th grade, and one of those shows got to the state meet. So that was my kind of Louis Earl Lemon was the beginning of the process, and Dr. Lemon ended up rather extensively moved to, he became superintendent of schools, and then he moved to Abilene, was an administrator out there for, 100 years. So it was fortunate that I stumbled into the right teacher at the right time.
Yeah, timing's good. And then where'd you head off to college?
Well, I went to community college in Austin.
Okay.
I mean, in Texarkana, and then moved to UT. Fortunately, the junior college had UT Austin theater graduate, a guy named Frank Harlan. So the community college theater exposure was probably the reason I came to Texas, because he was a Texas graduate. There were multiple folks from Texarkana area that came to Texas in theater, including the community theater director from way back in the 40s. So it was at being the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Happened to hit the right people. I ended up at UT, undergraduate degree, and when I graduated, I was actually thought I was going to Huntsville, Alabama, and they never did send me a contract. I got a telephone call from Lauren Winship. Lauren, of course, the building at UT's named after him. He said, go to Huntsville, to Sam Houston State. They're looking for somebody that you will probably fit in. So I ended up at Sam Houston State from 1957 until actually the fall of 1970, with some military stuck in there for a year with a Cuban Missile Crisis and the Berlin Wall story.
Yeah.
So I ran back and forth to UT teaching the summer program, and what was the earliest days of what was called the Summer Theater Workshop. I got tired of going back and forth, so I finally decided to come to UT in 1970, half-time with the UIL and the other half with the Department of Drama. So it ended up splitting that one until 1999. I supervised student teachers for theater and dance and did the UIL theater program during that time. Retired in 2002, and since then I've done as little as I can get away with it. Don't tell anybody you're tired. They're always looking for something for you to do.
That's right.
That's
So
sort of a thumbnail.
So do you get out to see shows, or are you able to do that?
I see all of, and in fact, since I retired, I've seen more UIL shows since I retired
Than
than I
before.
ever
Yeah.
saw while it was there, because there's always something going on. I haven't missed a UIL show since 2002.
Yeah.
Let's see, the increase in the number of conferences, one number, so it's
6. Yeah.
all the conferences. I actually got up and left one of them because it was so bad I didn't want to watch it. But by and large, the quality of work that's been done all these years has steadily improved, and I'm astounded at what I see these days. It's better than most of the college and university stuff I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And some on the edge of professional level work. It's a byproduct of trained teachers, theater programs, and theater facilities these days that rival anybody's plans.
Now, besides technology, because that's an obvious answer, what's the kind of one of the biggest differences you've seen since you've retired up until about now with the type of work being done and the quality of work?
Well, it's the quality of the material. It's just some of those things that during the time I was in the UIL office, we actually structured an ineligible list as the old burn power stuff is not any longer done. People do very sophisticated material, the best theater material that exists. One of the things I think I best contributed to the whole process is getting the quality of the material so improved that there's not much comparison between the things that I saw as a kid versus the things that we see today.
Right. What? So, are you fishing now too? Are you out and about doing those kind of things? Those relaxing retiree, the stereotyped retirement events?
No. I don't think stereotypical.
Yeah, not a very stereotypical life. Yeah.
I still do round trips around the house.
Right.
In fact, I'm waiting on a plumber to show up because I decided I'm not going to go to repair the plumbing.
Yeah, that's not something you want to mess with. Plumbing can lead to some other disasters for sure.
Well, I did never believed in hiring somebody to do what I could do myself. An old
I know
techie, I can
I know the feeling.
pretty much do what I want to, except it's a little more difficult at 85 to mow the yard and
Sure.
trim the hedges.
Hey, there's no shame in that. But that's the economics of it. Back to some of that theater stuff. Is there, from your time with One Act Play with UIL, is there a show that stands out to you as a quality show? Because I don't want to slander anybody, but is there a show that still you kind of just sticks with you that you kind of think about, and what about it sticks with you?
Well, there have been so many of them.
You probably have a few.
I really don't. I'm amazed at certain directors' work that have been consistently good, and of course there have been some really outstanding director and outstanding work. The old days, Jerry Worsham and Snyder did really superior work, and they recently retired folks from Mineola and Van have done amazing. In fact, I guess they retired this year because they didn't make it to the state meetings last year. But when you've been to the state level 14 times,
Yeah,
and have won half dozen of them, that's a standard that's hard to come by. But there are lots of people doing extremely good work these days. And, some of them are at the point of retirement, and yet there seem to be a stream of highly qualified folks that keep coming along. One of them is now the academic director of the league, and I have several ex-students with David Stevens, and he had shows at the state meet and won at the state level. Luis, of course, you know about it since you've talked to him. He did good work while he was teaching on the high school level, and he still directs and goes from workshop to workshop. But I did about 5 years after I retired and judged small school programs because that's where I came from, and I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
The travel is taxing, and I gave up after judging 2 regions in the same week, driving from Austin to all the way to West Texas, and then all the way across the.
Yeah.
I still travel. I still go where I want to go and when I want to go. We'll go to what I believe to be a state convention this September and do a program with Jim Rambo. He's conjured up a series of folks that include several of us. They're calling them the legends, and I rather resent that kind of title because I don't consider any of us to be legends. If they called it the longevity, I'd think, that fits in pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm the oldest of the past presidents still alive, and it skips from me all the way to Luis with folks in between. So we're sort of the old guard,
Yes.
as it were. And both of us are retired, but there'll be other folks involved, which they're going to do interviews and all that kind of stuff. And it's if they push the right button, I can answer them. But they send me a question of 54, 54 questions that they would like to have answered. Well, I made a few notes, and I can answer some of them. But when they want to know, did I know all the founders of TETA? I'm the only person left around that knew them all. So as long as they ask that kind of question, I tell them who they are.
You know, we don't have to call you a legend, but you definitely helped pave the way. You know, we'll call you what you want to be called.
Well, longevity is there's a great deal to be said for that.
Well, I don't know how much you're into baseball, but you know, there is something to be said about longevity and being able to stick around and get to that 3,000 mark and things like that. So the equivalent of your knowledge in this field, in this world, there is a need for that. So, you know, I know I appreciate it.
We have a group of retired folks from UIL office that meet once a month, the first Wednesday for brunch or lunch, whatever it's called, and that group is referred to as the old farts.
Okay, we'll put that on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Doc about that.
we swap lies.
Yes. Well, good. I have a couple more little things I want to ask you. As a director, and it does not have to be related to UIL. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. What is your most proud moment as a director or even educator?
Well, I was very fortunate at Sam Houston. The first year I was there, I built a new light board and directed 3 shows. And some of then of course running back to UT in the summertime, working in the summer program with high school students. Those years, both as a director and as an administrator, were probably some of the most rewarding things that I experienced. And there are folks that come up to me that I can, if they tell me the show they were in, then the memory will come back. But some of them, including, I don't know, half a dozen of TETA's scheduled guests this September, were former participants in that summer program. And they maintained that summer program changed their lives. And now that's maybe a little exaggerated, but it did have an impact on a whole lot of kids, because we had 56 high school students for a period of 4 weeks and 3 days, which is rather extensive, from 7:30 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night. And it probably I probably was as impressed by what the kids got out of that summer program, because we had some of the best directors and some of the best teachers in the state involved, including the UT faculty. That in some ways it had more of an impact directly on the kids than the UIL program.
What is one thing you wish you could go back and do different? Do you have regrets? Some people don't have regrets, and I can respect that. Was there anything you wish you could do something different?
I don't know that I probably wouldn't make the same mistakes I made the first time around.
Yeah. Fool me once. Yeah.
We're victims of our own heritage, genes, environment, whatever. And there are some positive things that come out of it, and some of them you think, well, I could probably have improved on that, but I don't really have any regrets.
Good. No, that's fine. And then a little final question. I don't know how much you get out to modern classrooms, or how recently you've been in a classroom, theater teaching or director's classroom, but have you been able to get into one? And if you have, Is there something that you've seen that's inspiring? Is there stuff that you've seen that you wish teachers would include? Are we missing something? Advice even just to a teacher that's struggling or new teacher that's starting out.
Well, that's kind of a tough question. The truth is, I enjoyed student teaching. There were years when I had 15 student teachers in 1 year, and dealing with that many and dealing with the UIL program at the same time was more of a load than I had any business doing. But I actually finally decided to retire, not only because there was a major shift in the administration of the Department of Drama or the Department of Theater and Dance, and the summer program was, I had too much money in the scholarship program, and the chairman wanted it, so he took it. But the downside of the student teaching process is the bureaucracy got so heavy that I enjoyed the kids, but I didn't enjoy the bureaucracy at all.
Yeah.
And the truth is, if I went back in the classroom today, I have to go through a security check before I could get in the door.
Yeah.
The most disappointing part about it was the abuse that teachers took from kids. I decided to bail out of the teacher supervision business because the administration of the schools were allowing teachers to be abused. And
right.
When they got to where you were cursing a teacher in the classroom, and I had a student teacher there, I knew I'd get in trouble real soon if I didn't get away from it.
Yeah.
So
no.
if I could change anything, I'd find ways for teachers to get rid of students that were both verbally and physically abusive.
That's good. I like that answer because I totally understand it. Totally empathize with that. Well, Lynn, this was short and sweet, and I couldn't have it any other way. So I appreciate you giving me just a little bit of your time. I want you to go back to doing nothing, and you've earned it. You're allowed.
Plumber, so
oh yeah, waiting on the plumber. That's right.
That's going to be they're scheduled between 12 and 4.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They give you that nice window, and usually they'll show up at 4:30.
Well, I may be out there I still have all my tools, and I may cut the water off and replace the thing myself if it's all around too long.
Yeah, just be careful outside, please. It's
a little too warm.
Yeah, it's a little warm.
A little dark.
But thank you very much. All my best to you and your wife, and if I get to catch you at TTA, I'd love to introduce myself to you, so you can put a face with the name.
Okay, well, I look forward to that. I do better when there's a face that's connected to the name.
Yes.
Because otherwise, it doesn't always click.
Yes.
So the kids are kind enough to say, I'm so-and-so, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me what show you were in and what summer it was.
Yeah.
If they give me enough.
A lot of history.
Punch the right button.
Yes, so I will make sure to be as clear as possible. I might even be wearing a shirt that promotes me.
Oh, okay, I'll look forward.
So I don't usually end the podcast with me, but I did want to quickly say that the proceeds from the Minor Wisdom shirt are now going to head over to the Bahamas, where they've just been kind of decimated. And it was heartbreaking to watch that stuff on the news, which it always is to watch that stuff on the news. That's what the news is for. But something hit me that said, there's no reason to raise money for this measly little podcast. What I need to do is fundraise for people that need it more. So if you could go on to the Twitter, at Minor Wisdom Pod, you could go on Facebook. You can even click the link in the description of this podcast and just purchase a shirt, and the money raised from those shirts is going to go to the people of the Bahamas and help them out. Once again, it's Minor Wisdom Pod, or on Facebook, or just click in the bio of this particular episode. Thanks so much.
Minor